Hello, this is David Kettlewell. I'm the host of mastersofharmonica.com, and we're continuing now with video 3 of our series on breath. And what are the two most important ideas that you can take away from this series? Two things. Number one, breath is everything. The chromatic harmonica is a breath instrument, and all the effects that you want to have, the bends, the vibrato, the beautiful tone, arpeggios, all of it is rooted and sits on the foundation of your breath. So it's very much worth learning to master it. And the other is, just because you practice doesn't mean you're going to get better. You have to practice in a correct manner, the right things. And the most important skill at the base of your pyramid, and this is your pyramid of skills you're going to build over time, is breath. And you want to picture a foundation stone of solid granite so that as that pyramid builds and year after year, those skills sit on a very, very strong foundation. And the number one foundation stone is breath. Now, there's two things about breath that we're going to be working on right now. One of them is how to control dynamics. In the world of music, volume, quiet, to loud is called dynamics. So we're going to get into a little bit about how to control the amount of volume you're creating. And the other one is an absolutely critical skill, which is to go from a draw or a blow to the opposite quickly. So let's get started. Just for fun, I would like you to take your harmonica, and I'm going to do it with you. I'll do it first. I'm going to play a note just as quietly as I can, and then I'm going to play it as loudly as I can. So here we go. It's so quiet you can barely hear it. Now as loudly as you can. So you want to get a feel for the range of volume that you can create on your instrument. So do that. Pick up your harmonica and play a note as quietly and gently as you possibly can. And you're going to find that's kind of hard to do, to control low volume. And then as loudly, because you get to the point with air where you keep on adding air after a while. It doesn't make any more volume out of the harmonica. You've tapped it. There's a range of low to high. And as a musician, you want to know what's that range. So hunt for it on your instrument, find it, and know it. Now, the next skill in the area of mastery of breath, I think, is one of the most critical, which is the ability to go from a blow to a draw quickly. Because we have to do that all the time. I mean, sometimes the notes, like if you're going from a C, that's a blow on 5 to an E on 6, that whole, 6th hole, those are two blows. But if you want to go to, let's say, from an E to an A, that requires a shift in the blow to the draw. So this is a diaphragmatic thing. And basically it's or the first one was blow to a draw. And the other one is draw to a blow. Now, the hard part is the draw is always going to be worse than the blow. The blow will be pretty strong and pretty much under control, but the draw is going to be weak, and you got to get them equal. Now, you can practice getting the blow and the draw equal by using that pucker method I showed you, where you go, because there's a certain sound made when you blow through a small shape and draw. And if they sound about the same, then the air's going in and out at about the same pace. But that's something that you want to practice without a harmonica, just, and your diaphragm's probably going to get tired. And that's okay. Don't do it for too long the first day. Maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And the next day do a little more. Don't do it when you're fatigued. Let your body recover. But these muscles are going to have to learn how to switch direction quickly. Okay? So the next step would be to do the same exercise with the harmonica on a single hole, blowing and then drawing, at various volumes. So I'm going to start off at a medium volume. So now that's pretty correct because the two are about the same volume. Here would be incorrect. That's more typical of what you hear out of harmonica players, is that first note's a blow. It's pretty loud. But the second one, the draw, was weak. Why? Because it takes different muscles to blow with your diaphragm than it does to draw. That's why we're doing these exercises, to increase the strength of the draw until it's equal to the blow. Because when you do a phrase in music like da 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 da, you don't want the volume of each of those notes to be controlled by whether your diaphragm's under control or not. You don't want it to be da, 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 da. That's what you hear a lot on recordings, is the draws will be weaker. And so you as a musician want to develop the ability to make a nice, beautiful tone out of the blows and draws and change direction quickly. And to change direction quickly, it's practice without the harmonica, then with. That's from the diaphragm. So when that diaphragm is activated and it's strong, you can change direction very, very easily. And so you want to practice that exercise at medium volume and then a very, very low volume. That's harder. And then maximum volume. So that's a great practice for you, and you can never do too much of that. And you might be, well, gosh, I mean, do I have to really get down to this kind of a basic exercise? Yeah, if you want your instrument under control. And you want to do with the instrument what you're thinking in your head and fulfill your artistic interpretation vision, which occurs in your head first, and then you put it into the instrument. But you got to have the technical skill, the toolbox, you know, with tools in it, the tool to be able to make that reed do what you want on a blow or a draw. Now, I have another hint for you, because sometimes I just add these hints. What people do with chromatic harmonica is they play everything right around here, because it's the easiest. But actually, you have to do your practicing in all of the 4 different octave groupings, because they feel different to your body. And why? Because the position your arms are in, constricting your chest, is different here than it is here in the middle, than it is here. So when you do an exercise, four octaves, get into the habit of working the whole instrument. This reminds me of a time I had a lesson finally on saxophone with a really top player. He was in academia. And I sat down and he didn't give me anything easy to read. He gave me the highest notes that you could play on the saxophone. And he sat there and he goes, well, play those. And I have to tell you, I told him, well, I didn't play these very much. Can you imagine in front of this, like, you know, famous saxophone player and me saying, well, I don't practice those very much. And they were weak and they weren't under control because I hadn't done that and I wasn't practiced. But You want to practice your breathing technique and your playing technique over the whole harmonica because it takes a different amount of breath to play at the low end than it does at the high. It takes more air. So you got it, your body memory, your neural memory has to be locked in for all 4 octaves. So I would say if you haven't practiced something that's an exercise on all 4, you don't have it yet. But if you will practice that stuff on the various octaves, you'll move towards mastery. So that's a great thing that you can do. I'm gonna just show you one other thing too that's a hint. This is just kind of fun. It's about bends. Now you've probably read that you cannot bend a note on a chromatic harmonica on a draw and not at all on a blow. Well, that's not true. Listen to this. And those are draws. Now here's blows. There's a lot more this instrument can do when you are supported by your diaphragm and you understand embouchure. You can bend and draw just about all the notes up to here. So if you have one of those books that says that you can't bend a note on a chromatic harmonica, it's not true. You most certainly can. Now, basically what we've done then is we've talked about the idea of dynamics, playing, you know, very, very, very softly, then medium, then loud, all 4 octaves. Then you're going to do the note direction switch where you go from a blow to a draw. All with the diaphragm. All about getting your breath under control so that your foundation stone is solid as granite. We're going to talk about something now in video number 4 that I very much doubt you've ever seen anything on, which is the specifics of how to activate the reed on a harmonica and the various ways you can activate that reed to make a musical tone. So, here's some exercises that we can use to get started.